going on, guys? It is Billy and Connor back with our second segment, Sports Talk, as you can see from our dope logo up there. This is technically episode 1, but episode 2 because
1B.
Our postseason, 1B, because our postseason predictions is technically episode 1. But we have a pretty good Sports Talk lineup.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'll just say mine is officially shot, my prediction. So whoever voted for me, sorry.
Yeah, so MLB postseason fully in go now. By the time you guys will be seeing this, the ALDS and the NLDS should be done, but we are recording on Thursday. So Game 4 between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies is tonight. Game 5 between the Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers game is tonight. Game 4 between Chicago and Milwaukee is tonight. And unfortunately, your World Series.
Game 5 for the Yankees and Blue Jays
in Cancun
will be happening here at CSP.
Yeah, on the hit tracks.
Exactly.
The hit tracks, yes. So, kind of just what are your first impressions on the postseason? I think it's been electric, actually.
My first thought would be something I can't say on this screen right now.
That's valid.
But when Vladdy Guerrero is as hot as he is, he's as hot as the sun right now. I think he's hitting like over 650.
Yeah. Your boy Judge, though, hit over 600 too.
I mean,
he
Judge
had an unbelievable postseason.
I'll tell you what, to come down to him in the ninth inning last night with 9th inning with 2 outs and still doing his job. I mean, you can't expect more from a captain.
Yep.
You know, it's obviously a little sad, but you know, good things were meant to come to an end. Unfortunately, this is without the World Series championship. But hey, Phillies are still in it
as of right now. By the time this video gets released, they might
be into NLCS. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, no. Game 4 tonight, I believe Christopher Sanchez is back on the bump. I don't know who the Dodgers are throwing, but I do know that they are trying to line up either Ohtani or Snell for Game 5 back in Philly. It'll probably be a mixture of the two, kind of how the Phillies did last night with Nola and Suarez.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good series. You know, probably the most competitive out of the two with, you know, the scores. But I tell you what, over on that AL side, that Detroit Tigers Seattle Mariners series it's
been electric.
Elite.
It's been electric. I mean, even if you look at Cubs and Brewers, like that's turning into something that I didn't think would actually be something.
Yeah, especially after Game 2, the way Milwaukee came back and slugged their ways back into the hole. Well, no. But the MLB postseason, the MLB postseason has it is definitely, you know, entertained. Maybe we'll have to redo our predictions depending.
Yeah, we'll do NLCS, ALCS,
because there's a good chance that both of our World Series teams are out.
That's all right.
We'll have fun with it.
We can have our own CSP World Series here on the hit tracks.
How about it? So the point of Sports Talk is to transition into other stuff that is not necessarily baseball. So our second favorite sport, college football. College football has been interesting, to say the least. Both of our teams are laughing stocks of their respected conference.
Correct.
But let's let the cat out of the bag and let's talk about these guys. What on earth?
Drew Aller, what happened?
Is happening in Happy Valley?
It's not very happy.
It is. It's not even sad. It's like disappointing Valley.
Disgraceful.
Just.
I mean, Drew Aller.
So here's the issue.
Not even 10 rounds.
Yeah,
excuse
10
me.
pick.
10
pick. There was talks that Drew Aller was going to be the first quarterback off the board last year if he would have declared for the NFL draft. You returned not one but 2 of your elite. And here's the thing: I know Nick Singleton and Katron Allen personally, and they are great guys, great football players. But it's just something is going on, and I think the biggest thing is you hire Jim Knowles from Ohio State, just coming off of a national championship. You pay him $3 million to be your defensive coordinator.
And your defense has been – I'll tell you what, my team has been putting out a good defense.
Yeah.
I think we should almost trade. Like West Virginia defense goes to Penn State. You might actually win a national title.
Might win a national title. And speaking of national titles and winning the big game, Connor, I want to know your opinion on this guy. What do you think is in store for James Franklin?
So he's going to miss the flight to Cancun with the Yankees, but he is going to be on the next flight out in January to go to Cancun or wherever he wants, because I think he should be fired. I mean, in my personal opinion, you are 0-4, 0-5 against top 5 opponents. You are a top 5 program.
Yep.
You should be beating those. You had Dan Lanning come in and put up an absolute masterpiece of a coaching.
Unbelievable.
Coaching, just everything about that night in the whiteout.
And I'm absolutely taunting the whiteout.
Yes, I mean,
disrespecting the whiteout.
But if you haven't seen it yet, go check out Dan Lanning's.
His post-game interview was actually one of the most electric things that I've ever heard from a coach. Basically, to sum it up for you, he said that 110,000 people, that he didn't feel it.
That was a canvas for them.
Yeah, he didn't feel it. It was just another game. It was just another game, which is crazy.
I mean, you look at that, and then you also look at the fact that you just can't get over the hump. I mean, me being a West Virginia fan, it's kind of like I'm used to it, so I can kind of give Billy a little bit of insight in terms of how to deal with it. West Virginia in 2007, I should say 7, one game away from the national title game, and they kind of crapped on their leg. But it's kind of what you build up for, then they let you down. But this guy, letting this poor man down. Look at him. Look at his face.
I'm sad, but I will say this though: is obviously I'm a very proud alum of Penn State. I've been a Penn State fan my whole life, growing up in northeastern Pennsylvania, and obviously the situation that happened at Penn State a couple years ago, with the whole, Paterno, Sandusky, that was a tough time for Penn State athletics, and obviously Bill O'Brien came in for that year. Threw the last names on the jerseys, which is just a big no-no at Penn State, and, had a good year. And then you bring in a young, enthusiastic head coach, I believe it was 2014, in James Franklin, coming from Vanderbilt. So an SEC program, obviously Vanderbilt, they're having a good season now, but, coming from an SEC program, this guy's supposed to be the truth. Then in 2016, you block that kick against Ohio State, you win the Big Ten championship. Arguably, probably should have been in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
But obviously, 2 years after being hired, he's ready to, we're like, yo, this guy's going to get us over the hump. Since then, they were talking about it on ESPN the other day. You're 1-9 against Ohio State. You haven't beat Ohio State since that 2016 game.
Oh, and even talking about Michigan.
You're 1-8 against Michigan.
Yeah,
or 3-8 against Michigan.
Those are the teams you have to beat, and now you have Indiana coming in.
Yeah, Indiana's no joke either. They're a legit top 7 team. They play unbelievable smash mouth football, but there has to be, and Pat Kraft too. The new athletic director. There has to be people breathing down his neck, to make the right decision. But then you also look at it too, is he has a $56 million buyout.
Yeah, well, the boosters of Penn State are gonna have no problem taking care of that.
I mean, we'll see. You got to for the Nittany Lions, you got number 7 Indiana, I believe, next week after Northwestern this weekend, and then you still have to go to Ohio State. So now you're looking at a potential 8-4, 7-5 season after being preseason ranked number 2.
That's crazy. That actually we could fast forward a little.
But
we could.
What's worse than being preseason ranked number 2
is being number 1
and then going unranked? Because then we can talk about these guys, hook 'em horns.
this isn't going to be a good one for a certain crew. But listen, horns down. Horns down.
And, it really, and this kind of goes along, with Penn State, right? Like everybody kind of, wished Sean Clifford out of Happy Valley.
Yeah.
Everybody down at Austin kind of wished Quinn Ewers out of Texas. But it kind of just gives you perspective based off of this year. It actually just gives you like, yo, those guys won. Those guys won you big games.
Massive games.
And now you're looking at Texas, who was preseason ranked number 1, had a really, the loss to Ohio State week 1, whatever, right? That's fine. Arch Manning's first career, big time start. That's tough. You can push that. But then you go to an unranked Florida team now, and don't get me wrong, the SEC is a different breed. They beat up on each other, that's fine. But when this guy right here is supposed to be the truth, is supposed to be the Heisman, is supposed to be a first-round pick,
he looks
and he hasn't even played college football yet.
He looks like gosh, I don't even know right now because you have Steve Sarkisian, who was at Bama with some of the best quarterbacks they've ever had.
Unbelievable.
And you get this guy, Archie. He's going to be in New Haven working at Archie Moore.
Unbelievable.
If he keeps playing,
And we were both athletes. We both understand, the performance part of it. Like, it's tough, right? Like, we're just two guys behind a screen right now, like, saying and talk about all this. But, like, these are the guys that are actually out there on the field. They have 335-pound linemen running 4.5s at them. They're the ones who have to make the read. So, like, obviously the criticism's there, but it's like as a fan, which this is supposed to be, it's sports talk. We're talking as fans.
Yeah.
Well, this
is
is he even going to be at Texas next year?
For his hope, I think he's going to still get drafted. I think someone still, Jets, are gonna take a chance. Are gonna take a chance. Honestly, like he has some tools. He just needs to.
He's a Manning. He's a Manning.
Just tighten it up a little bit. Which, when you look at it, it's like, all right, well, how much time is he actually holding on to the ball in the pocket?
Right.
Like that's something that could be fixed.
Yep.
But me overall, I'm just a little
underwhelmed.
Shocked.
Shocked and underwhelmed
with the Texas program. I was thinking like them being preseason ranked number 1, me being a Big 12 guy now with West Virginia being in the Big 12. I was happy that them in Oklahoma actually left.
Yeah.
Because I thought
opened up a world of opportunity.
Exactly. With Rich Rod coming into West Virginia and Morgantown, that West Virginia will elevate and get to the top. But obviously, like right now, the way we're playing, the way they're playing, I wish Texas was still with us.
Yeah,
because at least we could pick up win number 3.
Yeah, big win.
It's not Robert Morris, and it's not Eat Shit Pitt. Excuse the noise on the other side. I think they're just chopping up like the Yankees bench right now. So I think it's pretty suitable. They're
chopping up all the hopes and dreams of our favorite teams.
Yeah. So it's a tough pill to swallow to be a Texas fan. I know this is not the end for them. Steve Sark is the right guy, I think, for that group.
Yeah.
He has a great resume, but I just not right now.
So heading into week 6, before we move on, if you were to pick a national champion, who do you think it's looking like right now?
Right now, it's a toss-up right now for me. Because I think Ohio State could do it again.
Yep, I do too, as much as it pains me.
Yeah, but I also see the way Oregon is moving, and they're in that conference where
they're different.
They have come with a bigger chip on the shoulder, and they have another guy who was with Sark at Alabama running the show, and you coach with the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
So I think Oregon, in my opinion, has the best shot, but I think my opinion has been pretty shot recently with my predictions. So
yeah,
if you're gonna put your money behind Oregon, I would choose Iona.
Yeah, how about it? Yeah, no, I think out of the Big Ten, I think Oregon and Ohio State are definitely looking like the favorites. I think those are just two no-brainers.
Yeah.
The SEC is a little bit interesting. Alabama's on a nice little hot streak. They're playing
on a
really,
beautiful hot
really,
streak.
really good
It's
football.
about time.
Yeah, honestly, it's good. You know, DeBoer is an unbelievable coach, and I felt like it's hard to replace a guy like Nick Saban.
It is.
So he was kind of already put into a poor situation to begin with, just because he had to piggyback what Saban did down there. But Alabama looks really good. Tough loss for LSU.
It's a very
but
tough loss.
they're still in the mix down there. I don't know. College football is very, very, very weird this year. But this could be the year that Big Ten maybe takes over the SEC.
Big Ten Magic. I mean, I think they are overtaking the SEC either way.
Yeah.
I just think, what do you think? Big Ten football, you think of, those farm boys.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
think about, it's in the trenches, but, you always do have schools like the Vandies that will throw you a quick little upset, but
for sure.
It pretty much leads to what I want to see moving forward from the West Virginia Mountaineers, and obviously for you, the Penn State and Nittany Lions.
Yeah.
It's just being able to create a culture that those schools that we just talked about have.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know with West Virginia, you have Rich Rod trying to create a culture where he brought in 70 new guys. It's kind of tough. And for you, you kind of had the same core, but just it's a totally different ballgame. You have a lot of horses now.
Yeah, the portal has completely shaken up how college football is run, NIL, all of it. It's interesting. So, obviously, I mean, the year's not shot for Penn State, but it's definitely going to be interesting if, James Franklin gets canned and then the transition to Adidas. It'll be new times up there in Happy Valley. So
if James Franklin gets fired, who do you want as your head coach for the Nittany Lions?
I feel like it kind of just depends on what happens. And, I think, if Clemson decides to move on from Dabo Swinney, I think Dabo Swinney would be a great pickup. However, though, he's not a big transfer portal guy, and he doesn't really care about the NIL.
Yeah.
So it's as Penn State making that transition, because they're signing with Adidas for the NIL purposes, they are they're trying to do this so they can attract more players. I don't know. I really don't know. I think the Penn State job, and like many other colleges, is just it's a tough spot to coach. It's big shoes to fill. Everybody expects you to win. It'll be interesting. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Urban Meyer comes out of.
I'm saying Lane Kiffin.
I would love Lane Kiffin. Obviously, Happy Valley is beautiful. So I mean, if you're watching this video somehow, I mean, hey, we'll take you. But no, I was able to meet James Franklin and all that stuff while I was at Penn State. Great guy. But as a sports fan, got to get the job done.
It's the only thing we're brought here for.
Yeah. So
get the job done.
To wrap it up, we're gonna go back to our sport, but we're gonna talk about the collegiate level. So fall ball, it is October 9th, so you're kind of in like that, that last transition of the college fall. What are your kind of predictions? Who are you liking right now? I know your big answer, and I do agree with you.
Yeah.
But like, what are some teams that are looking out for?
So I'm going to say, obviously looking out for the Mountaineers. I mean, what Coach Sabins has done there, obviously with Coach Mazey, what he started there. I think what he's done is just brought a whole different type of culture to Morgantown and what they do. But also, going back to Potomac State guy of Coach Kevin Chenal, it's the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina, which obviously we had the privilege of coaching a phenomenal young man who will be, obviously as fall goes well, is Bryce Eastep, catcher for for the Chanticleers.
And big shoes to fill down there, obviously. But like we said, we had the privilege of coaching him, and he has a great mindset. Like, he just needs to be himself, and he's going to be just fine down there. But yeah, Coastal Carolina is a great team to look out for.
Yeah, and it's you look at like who's returning the most, who hit the transfer portal harder. I mean, obviously Josh Surgow, who he had the pleasure of coaching, another workhorse. That's in Morgantown, West Virginia. Honestly, like, they are a small level program for college baseball, but they have made such tremendous strides in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where I think those two. I mean, what my gut tells me is Coastal's going to win it. They were very close last year, but I just can't count out the boys in Morgantown. But you have other teams like those SEC schools. Arkansas is kind of like coming out hot.
so close, but just cannot get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what Mississippi State and our boy Drew Wires does?
Yeah, how about it?
You have other schools like A&M and Texas baseball. A couple local boys that are down there playing ball. But, it's with college baseball, you never know.
Yeah, which is what makes our sport so great. But, yeah, I mean, I think, obviously the two schools that I attended, I think this is, the year. This is Coach Gambino's third year at Penn State. So he has all of his guys now. And I think it's crazy how – I don't want to say they've cleared house, but, like, obviously when you get a new coach, that transition of like, hey, like, I want to get my players in. I want to build the culture that I want to build, which is, that's life, unfortunately. But I'm excited to see what they do in the Big Ten. Made the tournament the last 2 years, made the championship my senior year, and then this year made it to the semifinals and lost to Nebraska both times. So I'm excited to see what Penn State does, especially in that Big Ten conference. But UCLA is super, super, super good in that conference. Oregon is really good, kind of the two powerhouses that, kind of, strike my mind. Heading down to mid-major baseball, the Kent State Golden Flashes of the Mid-American Conference. I think they're going to be pretty good. Obviously, they have, big shoes to fill when it comes to, guys like Hayden Yachik, who was the MAC Player of the Year, Jake Casey, who was the or runner-up MAC, Player of the Year. Lost, some pretty good arms in the portal and graduation. So that's a good conference there, obviously, with Ball State, Miami of Ohio, super competitive, super good mid-major baseball that I had the opportunity to be a part of for a year. But my team that I'm really, really, really excited to watch. And
Murray State.
Murray State's a good one. I'm excited to see how they kind of rebound from that.
Correct.
It was kind of that year that like Oral Roberts and all that stuff did. Yeah. And obviously their head coach chose to stay, which is, unbelievable. So, for recruiting purposes there. But my preseason kind of like team to look for, or team that, I'm excited to watch is actually the Duke Blue Devils of the ACC.
Yeah.
New head coach in Corey Mascara coming over from Wake Forest. Their associate head coach and hitting coach, Scott Lawasu, who I had the opportunity to play under when he was the associate at Penn State. Those are two really, really, really good coaching minds. And then obviously you bring in a bunch of guys like Michael DiMartini, who was my teammate at Penn State, went to Dayton with actually Coach Lawasu. He hit like 450 at one point. He was top 3. He was top 3 in a lot of hitting statistical categories. He won their Conference Player of the Year. He didn't even play for us at Penn State. So he came out of nowhere. So I'm excited to see what he does back at the Power 4 level, especially in the ACC. My guy Bobby Marsh, who I had the privilege of playing with at Penn State and I actually grew up with, he just got done at Miami. So he's up there in Duke. But yeah, I think Duke's going to make some noise. Obviously coming off of a tough one.
You had Georgia too?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good teams going into, the 2026 year. Obviously at the D3 level, look out for the Alberta's Fearless
Falcons. Fly.
Had to top that in, but no, no, we really, are excited for this sports talk where we can kind of just, be low key, be loose, and, kind of just talk sports as fans, because we don't really get to talk, sports as fans,
Nah.
Being coaches and all that stuff. So we're excited for this segment. Stay tuned. It's going to have its own playlist on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to, obviously check out our main segment with the Ferda podcast. Episode 4 just dropped with Jake Casey, who I just mentioned a couple minutes ago. That was an unbelievable episode. Really thankful for that opportunity that we got to, meet with him.
Great dude.
So make sure you check that out. And obviously we have a bunch more stuff coming out for Connecticut Sports Performance. So make sure you follow our facility. And yeah, we got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. We're coming into that, that exciting time that we keep mentioning. So stay tuned for all that.
Always subscribe, watch, learn. Let's do it together.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.